Some of the most expensive Jeep repairs start with a problem so small you'd barely notice it. Ignore it, and a $10 fix can become a $1,000, $3,000, or even $12,000 nightmare. Today we're covering 12 costly Jeep failures you can prevent before they ever happen. So let's start at number 12, the gas cap. You're driving, sipping coffee, and bam, the check engine light pops on. Your stomach drops. You Google the code P0455, and the internet tells you your whole emission system is dying. The dealer wants hundreds just to look at it, but 9 times out of 10, it's the dumbest part on the whole truck, your gas cap. A loose cap or a tiny crack in the rubber ring is the most common cause of that code per fixed and car parts. So watch this free fix. After every fill-up, twist the cap until it clicks 3 times. Flip it over and check the rubber ring. See cracks? Swap the cap. A new one is under $25 at AutoZone. And there's a sneaky detail most owners miss. On lifted Wranglers, the EVAP hoses near the rear track bar mount also crack because they get pulled tight by the lift. Forum mechanics on Wrangler forums say to inspect those hoses while you're under there. Skip all this and you'll waste real money chasing ghosts in your fuel lines. The next trick is even sneakier because it costs you absolutely nothing yet still saves your weekend. And that drops us into number 11, the drive cycle reset. This one ruins Jeep owners every Monday morning. You roll into the emissions test feeling great, and the tech shakes his head. Failed. Nothing's actually broken. You just pulled the battery last week, or cleared a check engine light. The second you do either, your Jeep's little computer brain flips to not ready mode. You fail every test until it resets. The fix costs you nothing. Don't clear codes or yank the battery right before inspection day. If you already did it, just drive. A cold start, 15 minutes on the highway, some stop and go in town. Your Jeep runs its own tests during normal driving. There's also a hidden detail nobody talks about. The EVAP large leak test specifically only runs when your fuel tank is between 15% and 85% full, per ASE study guides. Show up with a full tank, the test won't even run. Show up with the warning light bypassed, the same thing happens. Skip this step, and you're paying retest fees plus burning gas on round trips. However, the next trap is where shady mechanics make their easy money. Now we're rolling into number 10, the battery terminals. This one tricks even good mechanics. Your Jeep cranks slow, the lights flicker, maybe a warning light blinks. Panic kicks in. You drop $571 on a new Grand Cherokee battery per Repair Pal's estimate. 2 weeks later, same problem. So you replace the alternator. That runs between $551 and $881 on a Wrangler, still broken. The real villain? White crusty gunk on your battery posts. That gunk blocks voltage and copies every major electrical failure in the book. Worse, on newer Jeeps with stop-start tech, a weak voltage signal makes the intelligent battery sensor think the whole system is dying. Now you get phantom warning lights all over the dash. So grab a toothbrush. Mix baking soda with water into a paste. Scrub those terminals clean. Rinse with water. Tighten the clamps down. Slap on some dielectric grease if you have any. And while you're there, wiggle the battery in its tray. Loose batteries vibrate, crack their cases, and leak acid that eats into the fender. Done. You just dodged a $1,000 misdiagnosis chain. But the next item is the most famous Jeep nightmare ever made. That bridges us into number 9, the wheel torque check. Death wobbles. Every Wrangler owner knows the phrase. It's the violent shaking that hits your front end at highway speeds. The steering wheel wants to rip out of your hands. Repair quotes are brutal. Fixes start as low as $50 for one loose bolt and climb past $2,000 when ball joints, track bars, and tie rods all need swapping per the Lemon Law experts. Jeep got sued over this one. The Reynolds vs. FCA case wrapped up in June 2023, covering 1.1 million owners of 2018 to 2020 Wranglers and 2020 Gladiators. Judge Mark Goldsmith approved an 8-year, 90,000-mile warranty extension on the steering damper. Here's a wild detail. The lead plaintiff, Claire Reynolds, got her steering damper replaced 3 separate times by FCA. The wobble came back every single time because the damper wasn't the real problem. But forum mechanics keep yelling about one insider tip. Don't let your dealer just slap on a new steering damper. That only hides the wobble. A good tech checks the torque on every nut and bolt in the front suspension first. You can do it yourself with a torque wrench. Tighten the track bar bolts, rock the wheels top to bottom to check for play, and keep the tires balanced. Most cases start with one loose bolt that costs nothing to fix. The next problem is where Jeep's design flaws really start to bite your wallet. And we're at the halfway mark with number 8, the cooling system. Plastic radiator tanks crack. That's the design flaw nobody warned you about. Heat cycles turn the plastic brittle, it splits open, coolant shoots everywhere. Now you're staring at a Wrangler radiator bill between $1,330 and $1,440 at Repair Pal's average. The fan assembly alone runs $957 to $1,019. Ignore the warning signs, let it overheat? Now you're warping a head gasket and the bill jumps to multiple thousands. Repair Pal flat out says they typically see radiators replaced at around 80,000 miles on these Jeeps. That's not a warranty number, that's a design lifespan. But this one is so easy to dodge it's almost rude. Pop the hood once a month. Look at your coolant tank. Is the level dropping? Does the fluid look cloudy or rust-colored instead of bright green or orange? Those are your warnings. Squeeze the upper radiator hose when the engine is cold. If it feels rock hard or mushy soft, the cooling system has internal pressure issues. Flush and refill on schedule. A bottle of coolant costs $15. A new engine costs $6,000. Therefore, you're winning by keeping eyes on it. Quick pause. If you want to avoid expensive Jeep mistakes before they happen, check out the 500,000-mile Jeep Blueprint. It's packed with the maintenance tips, warning signs, and preventative checks that can save you thousands over the life of your Jeep. Link is in the description below. Now we're sliding into the spicy stuff with number 7, the oil filter housing. This is the Pentastar V6's dirty secret. Every 3.6-liter Pentastar built since 2011 has a plastic oil filter housing tucked behind the engine, and it leaks. Quietly. Drips of oil pool where you can't see them, and by the time you smell burning oil, you're looking at a bill between $800 and $1,400 at the dealer per Wrangler forum threads. One Wrangler owner got quoted $1,330. Another guy did it himself for $150 in about an hour and a half. The repair shop Scott's USave flat out calls it a design flaw. They say nothing can stop it from eventually leaking. The aftermarket filter company EcoGuard had to put out a public statement because dealers kept blaming oil change technicians for over-tightening the cap. EcoGuard's lab tests proved the housing itself is the problem, not the install. But you can catch it cheap. At every oil change, grab a flashlight and shine it on the back of the engine. You're hunting for any oil weeping near the housing. Catch it early, before it drips onto your transmission and ruins your serpentine belt. There's also a sneaky symptom. If you suddenly start losing a quart of oil between changes with no visible drip on the ground, the leak is pooling on top of the engine valley before evaporating off hot metal. And when it finally fails, demand the Dorman aluminum replacement, not another plastic OEM part that'll fail again in 5 years. The next problem is even sneakier because it hides above your head. So we slip down to number 6, the sunroof drains. This one sounds harmless. It's not. Your sunroof has 4 little drain tubes that route water from the roof, down through the door pillars, and out the bottom of your Jeep. They clog with leaves, pine needles, and dirt. Now water has nowhere to go. It overflows into your headliner, runs down inside the cabin, and pools in your floor pan. One Grand Cherokee owner had a clogged drain short out his parking brake module. Another guy fried his entire fuse box. There's a wider lawsuit history nobody talks about. A 2014 investigation targeted 2006 to 2011 Patriots, Liberties, Compasses, Cherokees, Grand Cherokees, and Commanders, all for the exact same drain failure leading to water intrusion. Repair bills snowball fast. Once the modules, electronics, and floor rust pile up, thousands. So grab a cup of water, pour it into each corner of your sunroof channel. Watch underneath the Jeep for water coming out. Nothing comes out? Tubes are clogged. Use a weed whacker line or gentle compressed air to clear them. But the Jeep Garage Forum gives one real warning. Don't blast your compressor at full pressure. The clog can push back hard enough to pop the tube loose inside the headliner, and now you're tearing your interior apart just to reconnect it. Things only get more expensive from here, so we land on number 5, the differential fluid. The owner's manual lies to you. It says inspect at 20,000 miles and change under severe use only. That's the trap. Pretty much every Jeep owner is doing severe use, even if they don't realize it. Tow a boat? Severe. Off-road? Severe. Stop and go in the city? That counts too. Skip the fluid and you're slowly grinding the ring and pinion gears into metal shavings. Dealers quote between $480 and $620 to service the front diff, rear diff, and transfer case together. One owner on Jeep Forum got hit with over $1,000 for the full driveline package. But the DIY cost? About $20 to $150 in fluid and 1 hour of your weekend. Open the fill plug first to make sure you can refill it. Then drain the bottom plug. Check the magnet for shiny metal flakes. A few flakes are normal. Big chunks mean trouble. Refill with the right gear oil and you're done. There's an extra warning for Wranglers with the limited slip rear axle. The clutch pack additive in the factory fluid breaks down faster than regular gear oil. Forum experts say it's effectively dead by 30,000 miles, so change it on the lower side of the interval, not the higher side. You just dodged a multi-$1,000 gear replacement, but there's a twin problem right next to it that costs even more if you ignore it. Which puts us at number 4, the transfer case. Same fluid trick, different part. Your transfer case is the box that splits power between front and back axles when you flip into four-wheel drive. The manual says inspect at 30,000 miles, change at 60,000 under severe use. Skip it, and you start hearing a whine or hum around 40,000 miles that only gets worse. One forum thread tracked dozens of owners whose transfer case noise vanished after a single fluid swap. The dealer charges around $130 standalone or rolls it into the $480 to $620 driveline package. DIY costs about $20 in fluid and 1 hour. There's a specific Grand Cherokee WK2 detail worth knowing. The clutch-style transfer case on those models is notorious for noise around 40,000 miles, and the fix is almost always just fluid, not a rebuild. Let it go too long and you're rebuilding a transfer case. That's a $1,500 to $3,000 job, so we're talking $20 and an hour versus $3,000. Easy math. But the next item is the most expensive electrical part on the whole truck. So we climb into the heavy hitters with number 3, the fuse box. This thing has a name, the TIPM, Totally Integrated Power Module. It's the computer brain that controls every electrical function in your Jeep, from the fuel pump to the wipers to the door locks. And from 2011 to 2013, Grand Cherokees and Dodge Durangos, it's famous for failing. Symptoms? Random no-starts, stalling at highway speeds, wipers that won't shut off, and door locks that fire on their own. The repair? Around $1,200 on average per car complaints data from the 2011 Grand Cherokee. One Edmunds Forum user shared a chilling diagnostic trick. If you turn the key to on, wait to hear the fuel pump prime, and then start the engine, it fires up fine. But if you go straight to start, it cranks and dies instantly. That's a textbook TIPM relay failure. Jeep got sued over this one too. The Velasco versus Chrysler case settled in 2016, covering over 500,000 vehicles, with a 7-year extended warranty and reimbursement for past repairs. Damning detail straight from the Center for Auto Safety? The federal agency NHTSA took 337 days to deny a defect petition. The law gives them 120. Car Complaints noted that replacement TIPM parts went on national backorder for months, leaving owners stranded without rental car coverage. So how do you prevent this for free? Recognition. Learn the symptoms. When a mechanic tries to sell you a new battery, alternator, and fuel pump first, you politely refuse. Check your VIN on the NHTSA recall site. You might already qualify for reimbursement on a fix you already paid for. And keep your sunroof drains clear, because water dripping into that fuse box makes the failure happen way faster. The next con is the biggest scam Jeep ever ran, and we arrive at number 2, the transmission fluid. Jeep markets the ZF 8-speed automatic as a lifetime fill. This transmission lives in the Wrangler JL, the Gladiator, the Grand Cherokee, and more. But ZF, the actual German company that builds the transmission, says to change the fluid at around 93,000 miles. The repair shop publication Gears magazine confirms it. Forum mechanics call the lifetime claim what it really is: marketing crap. One Jeep owner's failed unit had fluid that was, in his words, black, thick as honey, and full of metal chunks at 114,000 miles. The replacement bill? Over $6,000. There's another hidden detail. The factory pan on the ZF 8-speed has the filter built into it. So when you do a fluid change, you actually replace the pan and filter as one unit. That's why dealers quote $800 to $1,200 for the service. But the DIY version costs you about $100 in ZF Lifeguard 8 fluid, Mopar part number 68218925AA, plus the pan. So do the drain and fill yourself around 50,000 miles, then do it again shortly after to wash out even more old fluid. The factory warranty ends at 60,000 miles, which is exactly why Jeep won't recommend service. They have zero reason to tell you the truth. Want proof? FCA's own 2017 owner's manuals for the ZF 8-speed say lifetime fluid with no severe duty change interval at all. ZF's own website tells you otherwise. Same transmission, two completely different recommendations. But the king of this whole list is the one that ends Jeeps forever. So that lands us at number 1, frame rust. This is the killer. Wrangler TJs and Cherokee XJs from roughly 1997 to 2006 rust from the inside out. Worst around the rear wheels and the transmission skid mount. The frame looks fine from the outside until one day a mechanic taps it with a hammer and the hammer goes right through. One real TJ owner on Wrangler forum pulled what he called half a solo cup of rust out of his frame rails with just a magnet. Another guy hit his 90,000-mile TJ frame with a hammer, and the hammer punched a hole through the side. A full frame replacement runs over $12,000. Most Jeeps with frame rot just get scrapped because the repair costs more than the truck is worth. Chrysler refused multiple owner petitions for a real recall on this. Avo legal forums have documented owners trying to organize lawsuits, but the corrosion warranty had already expired on most affected trucks. So the only thing standing between you and a dead Jeep is a garden hose. Spray water inside the frame rails through every drain hole you can find. Watch what comes out the other end. If your TJ doesn't have drain holes, drill some. Run a magnet through to pull out loose rust scales. Coat the inside with Eastwood frame paint, about $25 a can. And after every winter drive through road salt, hose the undercarriage right away. There's also a tip that saves dozens of Jeeps every year. Drop the transmission skid plate and inspect behind it. That's where 80% of frame rot starts, hidden where you can't see it from a quick walk around. That's what stands between you and a totaled Jeep. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these repairs have you dealt with, or which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more Jeep tips every week, and click the video on your screen right now for another guide that could save you thousands. I'll see you there.